To New York City now and the arraignment of the man accused of shooting UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. We're talking, of course, about 26-year-old Luigi Mangione. He pleaded not guilty to 11 state murder and terrorism charges in that killing. So let's bring in CBS News legal contributor Caroline Polisi. Good to have you with us, Caroline. So I want to show you Mangione's attorney in court expressing some concerns over whether her client can get a fair trial. Let's listen to it and then we'll talk about it.
And I just want to put on the record statements that the mayor made publicly about my client. Nothing saying alleged, for example. And he said, I wanted to send a strong message with the police commissioner that we're leading from the front. I'm not going to just allow him to come into our city. I wanted to look him in the eye and state, you carried out this terrorist act in my city, the city of New York that I love. And he wanted to show symbolism. Your Honor, he's not a symbol. He's somebody who is afforded the right to a fair trial. He's innocent until proven guilty. And the mayor was talking to jurors, future potential jurors that elected him. Those are the people that elected him, that he is talking to and calling this man a terrorist.
So, Caroline, that begs the question. The crux of this really is what New York Mayor Eric Adams had to say about Mangione. Does this argument really have any traction in your view?
Yeah, it does. You know, Friedman Agnifilo is a very well-respected lawyer. She knows what's going on. She knows how to make the correct arguments. And it is a compelling legal argument. You know, we have seen sort of this fanfare around the extradition of Mangione from Pennsylvania here to New York City. He was flown, and then the helicopter, and then, you know, all those photographs of him being walked, the perp walk, really, with you know, so many FBI, NYPD, Eric Adams in the background. And she does have a point. Her issue here is the tainting of the potential jury pool. If he does go to trial here, Eric Adams did not hold back when talking about Mangione, acting as though it were a foregone conclusion that he is guilty of this crime. As she noted there, he didn't use the word alleged. And she had some pretty harsh words for him, saying that he, of anybody, should understand that a criminal defendant in this country is innocent until proven guilty, because he's in his own legal problems. So I relate to that argument.
So let's play this out. Let's say the judge sees some credence in that argument. What could we see? Change of venue out of New York State? How could that play out?
No, I don't think it'll go that far, but potentially, you know, a tongue lashing and admonishment in terms of moving forward. But look, it is on the flip side, it is going to be difficult to seat a jury regardless. On the other hand, here we do have this social media sort of, you know, a groundswell of support. They're calling him Saint Luigi. The younger people have really, you know, made him a folk hero in some sense. And so prosecutors are going to be worried about potential jury nullification in this case if they seat people that perhaps aren't upfront with their biases or feelings about the healthcare industry personally, and then get back into that jury room, and regardless of what the evidence shows, they vote not guilty. So on both sides of the coin, you have really big issues with respect to tainting the jury pool here.
Okay, so important story, but now let's pivot. While we have you, let's talk about that ethics report on Florida Republican Matt Gaetz. That report alleges crimes committed. So my question is, why no charges, especially given the language of that report using those words, statutory rape?
Yeah, so different evidentiary standards, right? So that report, the language used was that there was evidence that, you know, these types of behavior had occurred. Now, that's very different from federal prosecutors believing that they can obtain a conviction and sustain a conviction on appeal. Remember that standard is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. They did have a sprawling 3-year investigation. And, you know, reports were that maybe they didn't feel that all of the evidence was enough to get over that hurdle of beyond a reasonable doubt. There were some issues with witness credibility. Now, that doesn't mean that this report isn't legitimate, and that in the court of public opinion, it's potentially more likely than not that he has committed the crimes alleged here. It just has to go to that different standard. But, you know, Matt Gaetz, I would note, has noted that he has been, quote unquote, exonerated of these crimes. DOJ doesn't exonerate anybody from crimes. They decline to prosecute, but it has nothing to do with whether or not he engaged in the conduct that is described in this report.
Fascinating to report, to read, and CBS News has our hand on it. We've been able to review that. We appreciate the conversation. Caroline Polisi, you have a great day.